In the previous video, we discussed a guaranteed annuity. Remember that at retirement, you need to purchase an annuity. That might be a living annuity or a guaranteed annuity. If you're thinking about a guaranteed annuity, it'll be useful for you to also have a little insight into the different types of guaranteed annuities, because there are some differences. Essentially, there are 4 types: fixed escalation annuities, CPI or inflation-linked annuities, with profit annuities, and level income annuities. The difference between them is largely all about the increases that they give you each year. No matter which one you select, you are guaranteed an income for the rest of your life. That income will never reduce, and any increases that you might receive can never be taken away. But the difference comes in with how these 4 options calculate their increases. Inflation will cause your expenses to increase every year, and medical expenses generally increase by more than inflation. So you need to ensure that that income of yours increases in a way that can cover the increased costs of goods and services. There's generally a trade-off with this. The higher your starting income, the lower your expected increases. Let's consider a fixed escalation annuity, because these ones are, well, fixed, so it's easy to explain. You might get a quote that says your starting income will be 8,000 Rand with a 5% fixed escalation annuity. That means that for the first year, you'll get 8,000 Rand each month. And in year 2, your income will go up by the fixed rate of 5%. So now that's 8,400 Rand. In year 3, it'll go up by another 5% to 8,820, and so on and so on. If you'd like to have more starting income up front, you might be able to get just over 9,000 Rand with a 3% fixed escalation annuity. And in year 2, your income will go up by the fixed rate of 3%, and so on and so on. If we compare these 2 options, you'll see that after a few years, the incomes match. But then, because the 5% fixed escalation annuity has got bigger increases, the income from that annuity is eventually more than it is for the 3% fixed escalation annuity. So, what we can see is that in the earlier years, a higher starting income is preferable. But in the later years, you're better off going with a higher increase. A CPI or inflation-linked annuity gives you increases in line with inflation. That might be exactly what inflation is, or it might be in relation to inflation. Let's say inflation plus 2%. It's not a fixed number, like with fixed escalation annuities. It's a variable number based on whatever inflation is. Just remember that your expenses don't necessarily increase by inflation each year. Usually, our expenses go up by a higher rate, particularly when we get older and medical expenses are more prevalent. Keep that in mind when you're looking at the expected increases of your guaranteed annuity. Next, there are with-profit annuities. These are more variable because where inflation-linked annuities are linked to inflation, the increases for with-profit annuities are linked to an investment portfolio. We know that the market is pretty unpredictable when it comes to investment returns. There can be strong up years and some bad down years, so your increases in a with-profit annuity are likely going to mirror that. Some years will be better than others. But the rationale is that over the longer term, the market generally outperforms everything else. So you'll probably do well in a with-profit annuity over the longer term. Finally, there are level income annuities. These generally give you a high income at the start, but as you're probably gathering from the name, that income stays at the same level each year. You don't get any increases. I'm hoping you can see that this type of annuity is only appropriate if you have a very short life expectancy due to something like a terminal illness, or if you have another form of savings that can cover you when the price of goods and services go up each year. Lots to think about, but try and keep it simple when you talk to your financial advisor. Ask, what is my starting income and what increases can I expect? Because you know there's a trade-off between the two. Even though our higher starting income is tempting, be careful you're not going to regret it a few years later when your increases are lower than what you need them to be. If you decide that you're wanting to go with a guaranteed annuity, ask for a comparison between a handful of guaranteed annuities. What are each of their starting incomes and what are their expected increases? When comparing different product providers to one another, make sure you're presented with the same like-for-like option. That's the only way you can really make a fair comparison. Ask your financial advisor to run some numbers for you. Ask them to take that starting income and work out what it would be 10 years from now and 20 years from now using its expected increases, and then compare the options against one another. You'll quickly see the impact of different starting incomes and different increases. Now you know about both types of annuities you can get at retirement: a living annuity and a guaranteed annuity, as well as the different types of guaranteed annuities. In the next video, we're going to be putting a living annuity and a guaranteed annuity up against one another and discuss the pros and cons of each.